mind, body, spirit, like things I've had to do over the past 10 years to really stay in tune with my body, because all of us go through things and, we try to push it away and like put it in a box per se and not deal with it, but ultimately it catches up with us.
We all have those moments where we need a little encouragement to get through our day. Someone to remind us that we are not alone. Find peace. Embrace joy. Seek God daily. Welcome to Jesus Calling Stories of Faith. Our guest is star of HGTV's Flip or Flop, Christina Anstead. Christina got her start as a real estate agent turned house flipper after the crash of 2008. Her work renovating homes and then selling them got the attention of HGTV, and the show Flip or Flop was born. Christina found the pressure to perform on film took a toll on her health as well as her marriage, and she ultimately went through a difficult divorce. She shares how the moments from both her successes and her dark days led her back to wellness and a new journey toward God.
I'm Christina Anstead. You may know me from HGTV. I host Flip or Flop as well as Christine on the Coast, and I'm writing a new book called The Wellness Remodel. I live in a community that I love. I have an amazing, supportive husband who genuinely is supportive and who lifts me up and motivates me and who has my back. And we have together 5 wonderful children. I never imagined having more than 2 kids, and now we have 5, but it's so fun. Like, I love having a big blended family. It's awesome. The book I'm writing is called The Wellness Remodel, and I'm writing it with one of my best friends. Her name is Kara Clark, and she runs Kara Clark Nutrition. So I actually met Kara in 2013. So in the book, we talk about basically how we met, but long story short, I was looking for a nutritionist, and my sister found her on Facebook. And so I reached out to her, and she ended up being like, oh, I'm a fan of your TV show. I would love to work with you. So we ended up meeting for coffee, and we were just fast friends. When she looked at what I'd been eating, I'd been super over caffeinating and like living on protein bars because I was like bouncing from house to house, just getting coffees, like just thinking like I need to stay so on, I'm on camera and then I have to go home to my kids, like there's no time to have downtime. So she was like, you eat like a toddler and you're drinking way too much caffeine, and like set me a program, and it was a lot more calories than I'd been taking. Her program really worked for me. And the question I get asked most often, which isn't about houses, is like, how do you bounce back after baby? How do you have so much energy? How are you doing all this? And really it boils down to nutrition. After my divorce, I got so stressed and I had horrible autoimmune flare-ups, which I didn't know they were autoimmune at the time. I felt so sick and I was like losing so much weight, and maybe I looked good on the outside, but I felt awful. And no matter what I would eat, I would just get these weird pains. So I went to the ER because it was so excruciating. And the person at the ER said, are you stressed? And I was like, this is not stress. I feel like I'm dying. And he's like, well, you probably need a prescription for like anti-anxiety or antidepressant. I'm like, no, but thanks. So I left and I'm like, there's no way, like what is going on? There's something wrong. So I ended up finding a naturopath doctor who I'd never been to one before. And I go in there and she runs a ton of blood work and was like, yeah, of course you're not feeling right. You have Hashimoto's thyroid. But basically my thyroid was like attacking itself. And I also have a couple other things going on. So I got put on a bunch of supplements, and all this is discussed in the book as well, just how important, like how you have to be your own advocate for your health. To be honest, like after having a baby, I'm going through certain things. So my nutrition is super on point, and that's how I'm able to still stay like thriving and wake up and get things done. But after baby, like my body, when you have autoimmune stuff, it goes out of whack. But like at the end of exhausted days, like I can see it in my eyes. I can tell when I'm overworked. Like I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, wow, you may have all this like makeup on and your hair looks nice, but in my eyes, I can tell like, wow, I look tired. I just had a baby. Like most people take more time off. I took 8 weeks off, and I understand because the show must go on. But if I say that I can only work 4 days a week right now because I have to be super on at work, then that's all I can do. Like, and I just keep pushing it, and I'll eventually get my way, but I'm not doing that because I'm being selfish. Like I'm doing that because I genuinely need that. And I need time to spend with my kids too. So I just like, I'm like my biggest cheerleader, I guess. And I just make sure people are listening to me, but like all the other noise about other things, I just block that out. There was times when I was really low and I would just let myself sit in it. Like I would go in my backyard by myself and be like, listen to all my thoughts. Like, this is why you're feeling like this. And I don't want to go out and I don't want to see anyone. I need to sit in this and I need to figure out how I can make this right. And I just need to figure this out by myself. So that was just really eye-opening, and that just kind of took my life on a turn, like for the better, like done with dwelling on the past, and it's time to refocus. And it really did. It was the most like spiritual weekend of my life. It was incredible. And ever since then, things have been better. So after the divorce, there was a series of things that happened that were like straight from God. And they're so personal that maybe when I'm like 90, I'll talk about them. But it led me to start going to church, and the messages that I was being sent spiritually were the same messages I was getting at church. And it actually made me be able to relax a little bit when everything else was so crazy and there was so much commotion like in the physical world. I was able to mentally like refocus and know there was a bigger purpose in all this, which was huge for me. Because if I didn't have that time, now maybe I'm not gonna find out for 2 years, but there will be a reason why certain things are happening. When a door closes, I trust that it's gonna close. Like every night before bed, I just pray that doors that need to be shut that don't bring me something to my greater good, shut them and lock them. And doors that need to be open that are better for my spirit, then open those up. And that really is my prayer, and that works. Sometimes an opportunity that I think 100% is gonna come and it doesn't, I'm like, oh well, it wasn't meant to be.
Hear how an unexpected gift helped Christina carve a daily path toward peace right after this brief message about a way you can connect with other Jesus Calling readers each week through prayer. Did you know that Sarah Young, the author of Jesus Calling, prays for her readers each day? In that spirit, we want to extend the Jesus Calling prayer community out to you in a more personal way. Each Tuesday morning, you can dial into the Jesus Calling weekly prayer call, where the team from Jesus Calling and special guests will minister to us during a 10-minute call to reflect on that day's passage from Jesus Calling, read scripture references, and pray together for each other and our world. Prayer call times are 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Mountain, and 5 a.m. Pacific, and are for U.S. only. For more information on the Jesus Calling weekly prayer call or to submit prayer requests, please visit jesuscalling.com/prayer-call. While Christina was on her journey to better health and tuning into her spiritual life, she received a copy of Jesus Calling as a gift. As she began reading it daily, it helped her continue to focus on her relationship with God and moved her toward a more peaceful place.
Someone gifted me with it. I believe it was the kids' nanny's mom, who she lives in Yorba Linda, and we used to all go to church together. And I like randomly opened it up to the day that it was at the time that I received it, and I was like, whoa. It was very spot on. Back when I first received the book and my brain was so cluttered with thoughts, I would literally just like pray for peace. Like, oh my gosh, I just want peace, like anything for peace. And my brain for the first like month would feel like, oh, clouded. oh my gosh, too many thoughts, like crazy. And finally, after like doing this ritual for like 30 to 60 days, but I was going through a lot, it finally was like, oh my gosh, peace. Oh, it was amazing. It was like, I was like, oh, finally, that's all I wanted. Every day for that whole year, for that first year, I would always read it. And I actually posted a couple of them on my Instagram, ones that really hit home. October was a really big month for me, so October 5th. Remember that joy is not dependent on your circumstances. Some of the world's most miserable people are those whose circumstances seem the most enviable. People who reach the top of the ladder career-wise are often surprised to find emptiness awaiting them. True joy is a byproduct of living in my presence. Therefore, you can experience it in palaces, in prisons, anywhere. Do not judge a day as devoid of joy just because it contains difficulties. Instead, concentrate on staying in communication with me. Right now, I have a lot to be grateful for. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my health. And I'm grateful for all my amazing work opportunities. I just feel like, especially for my kids, I'm just able to be so strong for them and show them what boundaries are. And even though it was such a hard time in my life, it led me to where I am now, which I'm at a really good spot. When you go back and focus on the Lord and focus on peace, joy will come.
You can find Christina's new book, The Wellness Remodel, wherever books are sold. Next time on Jesus Calling Stories of Faith, we talk with country music artist Craig Morgan. For decades, Craig had built his career in country music on a rock-solid foundation of faith and family. It was this foundation that held up Craig in his hardest moments after he learned his 19-year-old son Jerry had died in a boating accident.
When you lose someone that you love so much, my whole life revolved around my family and my God, So when you lose a part of that, there's a space in you that it's really hard to fill. So we rely on God for that to help us with that. And my faith walk became that much stronger because I did become that much more dependent.
Thank you for watching Jesus Calling Stories of Faith. To learn more about how to keep up with our shows bi-monthly and to listen to our weekly podcast, please visit youtube.com/JesusCallingBook to view and hear previous episodes, and to watch a short informational video about how to access all things Jesus Calling on audio and video formats. Plus, learn how to subscribe to our podcast and video channels. Your subscription helps get the word out to more people who will benefit from these inspirational stories of faith.